Both visitors and residents here in Perth are pretty lucky to have a day tripper's paradise all around the city, with journeys no longer than a mere 45 minutes necessary to experience something completely different from everyday life. Here, surrounded by the picturesque and lush Serpentine National Park, you'll find a community that's perfect for spending a day or so getting away from it all. Talk about a stunner. These falls are so popular with tourists, the real jewel in the crown in the area of Serpentine. And because we're so close to Perth, this is actually an area where you can make a day tripper's playground your home. Residents here enjoy regular, easy access, not just to these stunning falls, but also some of the state's best trails, including Kitty's Gorge, which tracks along the Serpentine River and Gurlong Brook. There are trails to suit mountain bikes, walking, and if you're so inclined, horse trails too. Lucky for me and you, these experiences are not limited just to people who live here. In fact, visitors, and in my case, even complete novices, are very welcome at today's day trip destination, the Jarrahdale Equestrian Centre. And you know what they say, it's never too late to learn a new skill. Australian stock horse instructor Sally Galvin comes with plenty of experience to train riders of all ages.
Myself and my 3 younger sisters have always ridden horses since we were little kids. Our mum always encouraged us to be the best that we can. And so we loved this sport called polocrosse, which is an Australian sport. And I represent Australia in the World Cup in 2003 that we won. But we've always ridden. We do horses on the farm, with cattle, with stock. We breed Australian stock horses as well.
And so why did you start the Equestrian Centre?
We grew up in a sheep and wheat farm, and my perfect, idyllic childhood was shattered when I was 8 years old and my father took his life. So Dad came from a long line of horsemen, but Mum didn't know anything about horses. So when Dad passed on, Mum had these 4 headstrong girls to bring up on her own, really. And she could see that horses were good for the soul. And so she just opened the gate, she drove the truck and wrote the cheques, and we rode horses. And so the reason I started the riding school was because Mum didn't know about horses, and she was looking for something exactly like we are, which is an equestrian centre with a difference. To teach somebody how to harness the power of a horse it's like soul searching and it's liberating. And it builds huge amounts of self-confidence and self-esteem.
I'd say I fall firmly into that category of riders who've come here to face their fears of being around horses, so I'm here to give it a go. The centre caters to all ages and abilities with adventure ride-outs, lessons for kids and adults, polocrosse lessons and lots more. And it's all just 45 minutes from Perth. To wrap up your day trip, nearby food and drink offerings are plentiful. After a hard day conquering my fears around horse riding, I reckon I've earned myself a nice meal and something cool to wash it down. And in this area, we're spoilt for choice. Millbrook Winery is just nearby, so is the Jarrahdale Tavern. And this is King Road Brewing Company. These guys handcraft their beer and cider too. Classic pub grub just seems so right after our day's adventures, doesn't it? All you need is a day spare to come check it all out for yourself. Bust those fears, then reap the rewards.